Hey everyone, it's Clint Salter, your host for the Dance Teachers Unite Summit for 2015, and you've made it. Well done. We are on day 10. Now, today is all about retention, and we have got some special guests. And when I was kind of putting together the guest list for this and thinking of the themes and who we should talk to, I really wanted to get someone on board that knows about bodies, and not just any body, a dancer's body. Because we know as studio owners and teachers, we need to look after these people that are coming into our studio. So I reached out to a great friend who is such a guru when it comes to a dancer's body. That's what she specializes in every single day. And that's what she talks about. That's what she writes books about. You might know her blog, the Ballet Blog. If you don't, you have to check it out if you're a studio owner and a teacher, because it's got so much great information for you to pass on to your students and also to help you with the way you teach your students in your studio. And what happens when we teach them the right stuff, when we get their bodies moving the right way? Well, they stay with us. And today is all about retention. So please welcome our guest for today, the amazing, the beautiful, and the lovely Lisa Howell. Hey, Lisa.
How are you doing, Clint?
I am very, very well. Now, Lisa, for those that might not know about you, and I'm sure there's only a couple of those, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and what's your big mission in the world?
Well, okay. Well, what I do is I look after dancers physically and mentally a lot of the time. So I run the Perfect Form Physio, which is our clinic in Sydney. But then obviously, as you said, we also have the Ballet Blog, which is how we reach out to dancers all over the world with online education and videos and articles. And then I run workshops, both for students and for teacher training. But I guess my big mission, what I am really trying to do is trying to eradicate or massively reduce all of the preventable injuries that we see. So when I started working as a physio for dancers, I got constantly frustrated that I kept seeing these same issues that didn't have to happen. There will always be acute injuries, and that's one thing, but constantly seeing injuries in students that could have been prevented had they been given more information, 6 to 12 months before, that constantly frustrated me. So that's what prompted a lot of writing some of the resources and running the workshops and things like that. And I guess the main goal behind that is to actually help dancers achieve their dreams. That so often we see their bodies start to break down right when it gets important. So it's right before an exam or a performance, or just when they're starting to go overseas or they take their first professional contract. And that just absolutely breaks my heart. The other thing is that I would much rather get the body out of the way so that we can actually develop the art form. I was a dancer before I was a physio. So for me, that is actually the goal, is to make it so that we don't have those physical restrictions, either in flexibility, in range, in strength and control, so that we have the tools that we need to actually explore it as an art rather than being limited by a physical body.
Sounds like heaven, Lisa. That is the dream, I think, for every dancer as well. I mean, I've had so many friends, and you guys are working with them every day, that are professional dancers, and then they hurt themselves. And then they're like, what do I do? I've got like 6 weeks and I can't do anything.
The world falls apart. If they don't feel empowered, then they feel like they're reliant on somebody else. And that's a huge part of what we do, is empowering dancers to know their own bodies, so that when something does happen, they know what's going on, they know how to work with it, they're not feeling vulnerable or at the mercy of some random therapist in wherever they happen to be, because often they're not in Sydney. So that one of the big parts is empowering them so they don't have that freak out moment. Yeah,
100%. Lisa, let's talk about some of the common injuries that you see that come into, your practice from dance studios. What are you seeing a lot of that you're like, this shouldn't be happening?
Well, the interesting thing is that it's changed, or it's changing. So when I first started, it was all foot and ankle stuff. Not all, but majority was foot and ankle stuff, which is what prompted me originally to do the Perfect Point book, because so much of what we were seeing was related to lack of articulation through the feet, and this was coming through in stress fractures, Achilles tendinopathy, plantar fascia pain, bunions. So many foot and ankle injuries are a result of not actually using the foot properly. So all of the initial work was based around the foot and ankle. And then what we've noticed is that, especially locally, now that a lot of studios are using these techniques and it's integrated into their training, we're actually having a lot less of those foot and ankle injuries, which is awesome.
But there's always something that's going wrong though.
But what's happened now is that with the shift of training, the shift of choreography, the push for guys to start full-time earlier, the increase in the amount of kind of oversplits, flexibility, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, we're seeing a huge increase in the number of hip and back injuries. So the focus has shifted and we're getting injuries that we didn't see 10 years ago. I didn't have anywhere near the number of labral tears and hip pain and back issues that we're having now. And now, or if we did, they were in 15, 16, 20-year-olds. Now we're getting labral tears in 11 and 12-year-olds. So for me, that's a massive shift and something that is really concerning.